Modern journalism and bias. Journalism used to be an authority we could count on. For a long time, it served us well. Objective reporting wasn't a matter of debate, or much less so. The era of television and print was hardly perfect, but we had a better handle on those platforms. Then the internet came along, and decentralized reporting, unburdened by reputation, largely decimated the integrity of an industry. The profit motive left little alternative but to corrupt, if they were to stay afloat in this colorful new world, where fiction and nonfiction intermingle in such an artful manner. It seems that there were three options news organizations could take. Number one, they could stay impartial and give us the news straight, the old-fashioned way, with interesting new fabricators on the scene to contend with. That appeared to be a sinking ship. Ethical journalism, now in its death throes, had two remaining options. Number two, the truth could still be dispensed, at least to a fairly high degree, but opinion and innuendo would now color the narrative. Value judgments would always be insinuated by the messenger. This is a more entertaining and sometimes more insightful approach. The problem is, it's not real journalism. It still claims to be, however. The bias is apparent to anyone with a discerning sensibility, even those who follow along its lines of bias. At least then it is a conscious, or slightly unconscious, choice. The third option is by far the most toxic. They could become a misinformation and propaganda network, totally aligned with some prevailing bias and agenda. Truth is espoused as total, but there is very little given, just enough to add a hint of legitimacy and thereby mislead. Entertainment value is high, and emotionalism regularly peaked. In modern culture, this seems to be the format of choice. The gullible masses eat this stuff up. Unfortunately, these misinformation empires have amassed enormous power. They are now shifting public opinion in major ways, aiding their corporate ends in the process. Our new morality is ratings-driven. I bet you can think of organizations in each of these three categories, past or present. A lot of us yearn for option one, but those bygone days of innocence have been crowded out. Maybe real journalism will make a comeback. That would be nice. Option two now grabs more ratings, and option three, yet more still. Fake news, a moniker so brilliantly coined by fake news themselves, has all sorts of ramifications, none of them good. It is a cynicism generator of the highest order. It entrenches the camps, more division, more hostility. Who can we trust anymore? Our best news outlets remaining now have legions of noisy detractors. Republicans have their networks, and Democrats have theirs. It is open war between the two, each denouncing the other as fake. This is not news. This is polarization for profit. The industry faced its supreme nemesis when the internet emerged. Unfortunately, it did not pass the test. Even the older mediums of television and print have largely followed suit. Journalism and politics are now sleeping together. This love affair was strictly forbidden. Both parties knew it was a dangerous courtship to consummate. Nevertheless, it is done. The consequences more staggering than we could have ever imagined. Tabloid-style sensationalism inflames us on the regular. Protest and civic engagement are on the rise, normally regarded as a positive, unless the motivations behind our march are unduly pulled by puppet strings. Let's make no bones about it. This misinformation saturation is making us suckers. Social media, in all its algorithmic wisdom, has changed the industry in profound ways through its content distribution and prioritization. Savvy online branding and other skillful manipulations can elevate the fake to an equal footing with the real. They appear side by side as works of the same caliber. We have to believe something, so we do our best to guess. Bias is now in a position of strength because in the absence of trust, comfort and familiarity form our new gravitational pull toward information selection. Media knows this tendency well and plays it to the hilt. It's all very disillusioning. It's hard to imagine it ever going back to the old style known as journalism. What we have now is something else, and it's getting us into all sorts of trouble. To be led astray is a fate worse than remaining uninformed. At least oblivion is peaceful. Things that are hard to imagine are not impossible. To get back to truth after the darkness of delusion is a universal principle. We all lose our way. We all get lost in the thicket. The digressions can be most alluring. We're all enticed by an interesting new narrative. News need not be as engrossing as entertainment, however. Let's make that distinction. These lines have blurred and brought something once considered concrete into abstraction. We must accept the reality. We must get back to a lost tradition, one of the good ones, the straight and narrow path. Journalism's foray from objectivity is antithetical to our progress.